All right, people. Hello, hello. And let's get this party started. Apologies for a slight delay with the start. Seems like everything is breaking with my computer today. Let's get the visual out of the way here. There we go. So, I figured today might be a pretty nice day to do a little bit of streaming. I've been working on the conversation and overall narrative framework for quite some time now, and I think it's time I'm just kind of showing this off to you a little bit. Either here live or later on as a VOD. This is a little bit of a bad time to stream, I think, this time of day. But we'll see. Maybe the stream goes for long enough that we actually have some decent viewership here. Anyway, everything has kind of been breaking today with my computer, so we'll see if we actually can get anything working here. Let's make sure that the game actually builds. What do we have? No. Oh, there we go. Just took some time from Visual Studio to come online, it would seem. So, perhaps the most distressing thing when it comes to this stream is that it seems like Affinity Designer doesn't want to start on this machine currently. Which is really bad. If you start this up, it kind of just launches and then it dies. And of course there's the more recent one. The free one, which I haven't moved to yet. But yeah, I've been kind of happy with Affinity Designer 2 so far, but it just doesn't seem to want to run on this machine for some reason. And I found this out literally a few minutes ago. So I actually already tried to reinstall it. It doesn't really seem like it's doing much. So let's see if we get some weird sort of funky errors or anything here in the application log. Like, what is going on here? We have some errors here. And of course the reason I am looking into this particular thing is that I was thinking we would do a little bit of HUD design today, but probably can't do that if we can't actually launch the application. CL info, that doesn't seem to be the relevant one, shall we say. If we run this again, what happens? Here's Affinity Designer, and then it died. Yeah. The description event cannot be found. AppX deployment server. Here we have some Affinity Designer business. System can find the path specified. I wonder if this is like, or was that just coming from the recent sort of reinstallation that I did of the thing. Anyway, that is that's disheartening. I don't know what's up with that. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. Let's play the game a little bit here, and I will show you what I've been up to. And I think actually we will we'll shut off the music here for a little while. And we'll let the game audio actually speak for itself a little bit. Let's maybe lower that to like half or something like that. So again, it's been a little bit of a while since I've been doing any streaming, and it's been mostly because I've been working like crazy on this thing with the raw intent of getting things done. I mentioned in the past that when I do any kind of streaming, I like it to be sort of like a discussion between you know, me and you. I like to be able to answer questions, chat about things, that sort of thing. And so, because of that, let's actually lower that a little bit more. Because of that, I haven't really been doing a whole lot of streaming when I'm in these like really, really intense development periods. I've been just working on this like absolute crazy. One of the kind of most requested things that we have actually now is borderless full screen, which you can see switch between now very, very snappily and handily. We don't really have any exclusive full screen support, at least here in the UI anymore, because it's, I mean, no one really wants to have that anyway. And we can see that the resolution selection here, it kind of like gets disabled if you have full screen mode on, which is the borderless full screen. Instead we have a render scale, so we can set that down to like 50. And now if we go into a sandbox, let's go into that, for example. You can see that, okay, like the UI is now being rendered at full resolution, but the game is like considerably more pixelated. Because now we actually we render the 3D content at a different resolution than the rest of the like, you know, the final 2D compositing pass. This has been something that's been requested for ages, that I add, that we can have borderless full screen, and this sort of like dual resolution support is just something that I think should be there, because like if you don't have that, then you're essentially locked to your monitor resolution with the actual game, and that's kind of nasty. But we can see that the UI still renders at a very crispy native resolution here, and all of these HUD elements and everything look very nice and smooth and all of that, even though the game is now rendered at like half the resolution currently. And we can even go like, if we go to, I think it's render scale. You can just set this down to something like ridiculously low. I don't expose these values to you in the UI, because you kind of like shouldn't really want to play like this. But you can see like the contrast there is quite stark now between like this UI element here, this gauge here on the left lower, or this radio menu or whatever, and then the actual rendered stuff. Almost hurts your eyes to look at that, so let's not have it. So that's like one thing that has been worked on, and that was actually kind of a big thing to do. It sounds like it would be a very small thing, but actually no, it was pretty significant actually. Yeah, the audio kind of jumps up here because it applies all of the settings, and I keep putting it back down with a development command. So that's one thing. Another thing is a complete redesign of the narrative stuff. So that involves like writing new dialogue for the demo mission, doing like a completely new sort of pipeline for getting like dialogue and things into the game. And that is of course also where we are going to be spending our time today, at least if I can get that the Affinity stuff out of Affinity Designer somehow. We'll see if we can actually manage that. But yeah, we can just go into a mission here. And if you played this demo before, you might realize that, oh, actually like almost all of the dialogue is new. And we actually even have placeholder voice acting.
There it is.
And you can hear it's really, really terrible. It's
Minerva Station. This is Rowan Lance, comms operator of cargo platform 34. Do you copy?
it's only as placeholder dialogue until we actually have
No answer.
proper
Let's go have a look.
only as placeholder dialogue until we actually have proper voice acting in the game. But if you are making a game with the intent of adding voice acting, it is it's quite limiting if you only get to test it once you have like proper voices. So I've actually made a tool for myself which generates these voices, and we have different sort of virtual voice actors for all of the characters and so on. And some of them are like truly, truly horrible. But some of them actually work kind of well. Like for example, we now get these kind of barks when we are asking these guys to do something over the radio.
Positioning. Receiving. En route.
And of course, like Mother is supposed to be like an actual AI in this world, right? Mother is an AI construct.
Listening. Repositioning.
So her very sort of flat delivery of those lines actually kind of works pretty well. I'm still not going to keep it. I'm not going to keep that voice there, but I think
Channel open.
her sort of her delivery actually kind of fits the character quite well.
Understood.
So that's kind of nice. But yeah, we have basically completely new dialogue. Some of these lines I obviously didn't rewrite if they were perfectly fine.
We'll have to find another way in.
But most of this stuff is actually completely rewritten now, and it's rewritten using a completely new system, which I will demonstrate to you in a little while. If you haven't seen this level in a bit, you might also recognize that these. Oh yeah, we actually even have some. Let's just pause this for a little bit here. We have some new cliffs. All of these cliffs were redesigned to be more in line with the new art style that I kind of established after initially making this level. And so we no longer have that very, very blocky looking, almost like grid-like plasticky cliff thing. Now we have a slightly less plasticky, but still, pretty cartoonish and stylized sort of cliff art style going on here. And all of the cliffs in this level have finally been converted to that. We actually looked quite a lot of that stuff in the previous stream. But yeah, I'm kind of happy with how it turned out. Yes, we actually even have a new character here, Marty, who is also actually the narrator for the game.
Specify question category.
And Marty is sort of a journalist who is kind of like as a guest following along with this crew, and his assignment is to make basically like a documentary of it. But of course, everything goes wrong when when that is happening, and then all kinds of things happen during the campaign.
Retain logs of
But
all
that is sort of why
events.
Marty is conducting these interviews with
Query.
with the crew.
A few years back, Sandstorm, Stellar stayed in the cabin overnight to keep me running.
That's a memory.
A logged event of operational significance.
Mother, you just told a story.
Operational data.
And yeah, these people are kind of like surprised that Mother is not really behaving like an AI in some of these things. Of course, like the delivery of these lines are completely like misplaced. So they really sort of don't work these kind of vignettes without proper voice acting, as anyone could tell you. But still, they're very, very handy to, first of all, get some sort of sense of timing when you're designing these things. Like if a dialogue runs way too long, then you know that, okay, we can't actually fit it here, like we need to make this shorter, right?
Same story over here.
Yeah, Diego's voice actor is kind of like Christopher Walken-ish. Especially with some of his lines. So yeah, timing is one thing. Another one is just straight up like verifying that things actually trigger. It's kind of tricky sometimes to follow along with the dialogue and make sure that it actually works, like on a technical level, and the temporary dialogue works there as well with that. Let's see if we can get in that way. Oh, I had way too little speed for that. Way too little speed for that. Rip. Let's unstuckify ourselves off the cliff there, or the rock rather, and see if we can get in. Hey, there we go.
Hey, that looks like a way into the station.
And we have some of these things that I call vignettes. You actually saw a vignette playing there earlier with that Marty interview. Some of them can actually be sort of
You're in. Let's get the power back on.
they can be interrupted by something more important
Should be around here somewhere.
going on in the mission. Oh, by the way, if any of the audio level things are like, if the audio levels aren't good, then let me know. And if you can't hear me, then that's one thing. But also if you can't hear the game, then let me know
What are we looking
as
at?
well.
Those canisters. Power cells. One's already in. Empty, though.
There's a full one in the garage.
We'll need something to lift it into place. See if you can find another gripper trunk or something that can lift things. Like our old one. Miss her, claw and all.
Some of these kind of run for pretty long now with these placeholder dialogues. Here's actually one place that I completely redesigned recently. There used to be a sort of a cave here, which I didn't really know what to do with. So I kind of blocked it off and put a little house here instead. Yeah, some of these things got kind of redesigned when we did the cliff redesign in this level. So some of these areas have been kind of changed a little bit. Here is one house that's still missing proper details.
This monorail leads to the refinery.
Yes.
Is it still powered?
Looks like it.
Maybe we can
Might
order
be powered from the refinery.
the monorail to come here. This is actually a pretty good thing to just play through this mission, or at least like play some of this mission now here, because I've been doing so many things, changing so many things on the technical side here that I don't know what I've broken. It's pretty good to just have a stroll through this and actually play it a little bit. See that the script doesn't break completely. And all of that. We still haven't looked at any of the conversations. Like this is just mission dialogue that we've been hearing so far. There's a completely new system called the conversation system, which we will turn our attention to in a little bit. And it's actually sort of on a technical level kind of driven by the same system as the mission dialogue, but it works very differently, as you'll see soon. Yeah, let's travel to the refinery and see what's up. I've also been doing a fair bit of stuff on the renderer, trying to get the input lag that we were having with VSync minimized. It's now actually very snappy and nice. There's still some some issues with the way I do it now, where I might have to expose some more options to people, because like it seems like the buffers are so small now that even some of my computers, my own computers, can't really like keep it at a steady 60 all the time. As you probably want.
What happened over there?
Turbine blue. Looks recent.
Turbine blow. You kind of want a slightly deeper pipeline there to make sure that you actually have enough frames in flight. But that also may or may not lead to longer input delays, which isn't, of course, super optimal.
Power cell dispenser.
It makes power cells on demand.
Drive under it. Activate it. Pops out a fresh one.
That's handy. Never seen one before.
Never seen one before. Christopher Walken is featured in this game. Right, we got a power cell. We can try to get another one, but of course it won't give us one. It will just break.
That doesn't sound good.
No more power cells from that thing.
Well, at least we got one.
Of course, like this would be much more optimal to do with a gripper truck, but I'm doing it with the Scout now, seeing if I can actually football my way over to the monorail with this. You can, by the way, if you want to play this thing, you can play not this, but you can play the version from December right now. If you go to the Let's unstuckify. If you go to the Discord, you get to play this. You can join the Steam playtest, or you can just download a straight build. The so-called pre-alpha 3 is available there. And soon you will be able to play pre-alpha 4, which has all of this stuff, minus the horrible temp voice acting, most likely. Ah, come on. Don't get stuck there. That's annoying. Actually, I added some fences here for this very reason, that like you might want to actually not have your power cell fall down there. Oh no! Now it got stuck well and good. Okay, let's go get the gripper truck and get it out of there.
Listening. No viable route.
Yeah, Mother can't come here because we are in the monorail currently. We can try to maybe get the gate open there, and then have her actually come a bit closer. Here's also one thing that we might want to actually work on a little bit, if I can get that affinity thing to work. I've added some fences here along this so-called ground supports here. These serve many purposes. Some of them are like mechanical. They actually kind of solve some scripting issues. Like you can still typically drive over these if you really want to, but you won't do it like accidentally. And then also I just think it looks kind of nice. Like I think this is something that, you know, there would be a fence here in real life. But of course, it's pretty fun to drive off these things, so I left like an opening here. And I was figuring, okay, I need to add some like more of these pieces here that is sort of like looks like this, as you know, someone has driven through this or something. It's kind of broken down. Now there's just like an opening here. But of course my my fence making tool, which allows me to like paint these fences in like along splines like this, they don't handle that, so we need to do that sort of separately. And so that's something that we could do if we wanted to. Okay, let's get the gripper here.
There's our gripper.
Yes.
Whoever left it, thanks.
Don't get attached.
So we have a gripper truck, we can open the gate, and then we can order a mother to actually come to us. Mother, who of course also has audio finally. There's no audio for Mother in the pre-alpha 3. Pre-alpha 4 has even more audio than this truck. This has like vehicle sounds, but it doesn't have sound for these
Great, that's one power cell in place.
for these gripper arms and things
The
like
gate
that.
is opening.
Channel open.
We still need 2 more power cells to power the elevator, though.
En route. Maybe there are more power cells around. Worth a look.
Yes, maybe. Yeah, sometimes these kind of dialogues can be kind of like interleaved a little bit there. So what we saw there just before this was like a little bit of mission dialogue, and then
Receiving.
we had these like radio barks.
Listening. Adjusting position.
Okay, let's switch to Mother here. Get the cargo. Oh no. We need to actually put the handbrake on here. Handbrake. You can maybe even hear some sounds from the cranes, but they're kind of far away actually from this camera here, that they may be a little difficult to hear. I'm just gonna lift this guy up. Lift it up. Okay. Let's maybe bring it in a little bit, and we're gonna lift it up there on the refinery. Why not? We also have like engine sounds or whatever, locomotion sounds for Mother these days. Finally. Mother used to be very, very quiet, and still is in the version that you can play today, but this version is releasing somewhat soon, so okay, maybe we should just, I'm just gonna back it up there. Alright, handbrake on, and then I'll just do like lift this entire truck up onto the platform. Why not? Yeah, I can see that. It's pretty heavy actually. It kind of lifts Mother's front wheels into the air. Okay, yeah, we have some trees there, kind of messing with the camera a little bit. Alright, let that down. Nice and easy. Okay. Then we go grab that thing from over there. See if we can actually grab it with like a quick grab choreography, like a quick action. It is kind of in a tricky place, so it might not be possible, but we can see. We can see if we can do it. Let's see if we can do it. Come on. Okay, if that's the case, then we need to take more drastic measures. Gripper arm direct controls. Let's see, can I grab it? Yeah, not quite. No. Ah, I managed to stick it even further into the thing. Okay, that's not good. That's not good. Hello, Elkjgdr. I am developing from scratch. Yeah, this is my own game engine, and all of my own art, most of my own sounds, and everything. So yes, it's very much from scratch. Absolutely. I think we have found a place where I should put a physics blocker so that we can't accidentally get a power cell to go in between that tree and that rock there. Fortunately for us, we can leverage some developer hacks here. This is what I like to call developer leverage. So just spawn another object there, and then use that to kind of bounce the thing out of its little crevice. All right, that looks better. Yeah, now we have a pretty good grip there. It's kind of fighting the physics a little bit, but that's to be expected. All right, what do you guys think? Can I make the jump? Actually, jump onto mother from here. Let's see. Let's see. Come on. Ah, no, not quite. Okay, well, that doesn't matter. We're just gonna grab the entire thing. Maybe from the roof. There we go. That's one way to get a power cell unstuck. Yeah, I think we better actually put like a physics blocker there. There's really no reason to have that sort of crevice where things can get stuck. Must have taken you months. Oh, if only you knew. This summer, this game in its current form will turn 3 years old. And of course, that doesn't include a whole bunch of the tech stuff. And it's kind of like based on a slightly older version of this game. But yeah, I started developing this game in Zig in 2023, so that would be 3 years 3 years ago now. However, that is using my pre-existing game engine, which I've also developed completely from scratch, which is not in Zig, it's in C++. So it's a little bit of a hybrid code-based thingy. All right. I'm just gonna dump this guy here. Dumps, donk. Things falling off. That's completely fine. All right. Yeah, we're gonna look at a little bit of the.
Another power cell in place.
Yes, we're gonna look at a little bit of the tools in just a little just a little bit here. I want to actually finish this mission now because we're kind of close to actually doing it. So let's move that up a little. Actually, I'm just gonna move that box out of the way. Just grab that, put it back in the bed there. Yoinks. Yeah, Mother's kind of in the way. They're blocking my camera all the time.
Receiving.
Yep. Can you please come, like, drive backwards a little bit here?
Repositioning.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, okay, sorry, I'm in the way. I'm in the way. Okay, so now we should be in the position to actually grip this guy. Rip. Just drive up and grab it, and we can load it in the back. Why not? Why not? Okay, where's the scout?
Be right there.
Be right there. There's like our Christopher Walken is driving the scout. He's probably still in the warehouse. Yep, there he is. There he comes. Yeah, like just making just the driving AI here has actually probably taken me half a year. Like look at the way Mother is positioned here now. She's like, she has a little bit of space here behind, and then there's like almost nothing in front because there's this power line here, which she shouldn't drive into. And so if you ask her like, okay, let's come here to this big elevator thingy.
Listening.
So what should she actually do now? And we can see that she does like a reverse, starts by doing a reverse turn, so she has a little bit more space behind, then switches into forward drive, and then like drives around, stuff like that. Like, it just takes absolutely forever, and the driving AI is not perfect like in any sense. These guys occasionally get stuck in like stupid places. But yeah, just the driving AI has probably taken me like half a year to make. Bonk, stuff falling out, I don't care. Because I saw that there happened to be a power cell over here. This is the power cell that used to be inside the cave there, back when there was actually a cave here. Just yoink that up. And like so far, your player character hasn't really taken part in anything here, like dialogue wise, right? It's just been those other guys been yapping at you. Oh, actually that's not where I want to go. I want to put it into the receptacle there.
Channel open.
Yeah, talk to me. Heading over.
But there is a new mode which I've been developing and still am.
Yes, another power cell in place.
The elevator is powering up.
Yes.
Nice job, Vet. Let's get the vehicles in. Listening.
Yeah, there's a new mode in which you get to have conversations with people in this world.
Repositioning.
Hey, what's up? Dago here.
In sort of like an old school point and click adventure sort of way. And that is,
We are all here.
yes,
Let's get this thing moving.
that's where the work has gone into of the past maybe 2 weeks or so. Okay, now we can start this thing and we can finish the mission.
Keep your hands and feet inside the ride at all times.
And so this is basically the demo mission. There is one more piece, sort of like a comedic, like a comedy piece, comedy character actually, that is still missing from this mission, and they are missing because we actually need the conversation system for that. But if we just load into that same level without any kind of mission going on, now we're here. This is the same mission. I'm here by myself now. We don't have those other characters in here. Here we have this mysterious ring. So this is an interaction area, right? You can use these for all kinds of things. Like I've used them for that elevator that we were just in, and I've also used them for monorails and all kinds of things. You can script it to do things basically. But we have a new mode here where we actually have 3 options, and this is the exact UI element that I was thinking we would work on today, because this looks like ass. This looks like absolute ass. And we have 3 options. If you select an option, we get some things spouted to us, and then the conversation kind of ends. You go back, you have just 2 more. Option 3. You chose option 3. The secret 3rd option, blah blah blah. But of course, we will have all kinds of things happening during these conversations. We will have camera animations and better UI and all of that. And let's see. Do I have? Yeah, I have my. Mock-up here. So I actually have a remote connection now to another machine. You can see here. It says chill up there on the top. This is kind of what I was thinking, like the UI might look like. I'm not exactly sure about this glow thing here, but like something like this, which would mean that we would have to get Affinity Designer working, or then I will export at least like this background thing here, like through remote desktop here on this stream. We'll see what happens. Not exactly sure, but anyway. You have these things that you can sort of select these options, and these days I'm using something called Ink, which you may have heard of. Let's go to means data, game, Ink, and it's called Dink in many cases, because Dink is dialogue ink. It's like a special sort of dialect of it, which handles dialogue much better. And here we can actually see the conversation we just looked at. So this is how we actually author these things. This is sort of like an entry point or a function or whatever you want to call it, called a not. Then we have some special commands here to like set if we want to have like the radio voice effects on and things like that. Then we have 3 options. Then Rowan, who is one of our characters, says you chose option 1, and then it goes to some place. Here we have option 1, option 2, option 3, and we can just have more of these things here. We can have like, Stellar could say a new line or something, blah blah blah. And then this basically means like go back to where you were, which was here, and then it like skips these other options that you didn't choose, and then the narrator says that was the end of it. So now if we save this guy, and then we go and we run this little batch file here, which converts this into the runtime format that we need for the game to actually be able to run this. And now we can I'm just gonna make it launch directly into the level there. Put down the volume again a little bit here. Now if we go and drive into this same thing and we select the first option here, we should see that additional line by Stellar. A new line, yay! That was the end of it, blah blah blah. And then you go back. And actually there's been like so much work involved in getting this thing to work, because we have a new sort of pause mode. Like if I drive at high speed through this thing and activate it, you can see that the game is paused. We even have some like placeholder particles there. So the game is paused, but we actually pump like almost all of the game logic. We just don't run the simulation here, so that we can actually do things during this conversation. And like later on we will have like, you know, nice sort of camera animations like flying around like this when we have your conversations and blah blah blah. And so we can't pause the thing completely, but we still need to pause the physics. So a lot of time has actually gone into just making that possible, that you can sort of like partially pause the game engine. Then when you go back out, it continues. But of course it might have changed some facts about the world when you were actually discussing with someone. So that's like the conversation system. It's a completely new thing. It doesn't exist anywhere in the game yet, except that one place where I put that test conversation thing. But I'm sort of disheartened by Affinity Designer a little bit right now. So I'm thinking I'm gonna start the actual work in this stream by tweaking this level a little bit and adding those other little flavor things. And then maybe I'll go back to the conversation towards the end of the stream if I feel like that is something I want to do. And of course, through all of this, if you have any questions, absolutely shoot. But let's open the level and see what we have. I'm going to start by improving that fence there a little bit. So that would be the refinery level. And here we are in the editor. So first of all, here we can see that, okay, this is a conversation. It's just placed on the base layer there. Maybe I should actually move that off to its own layer, because we're going to want to actually probably submit the stuff that we have going here now. So let's start actually by moving. This is kind of unnecessarily far away for development reasons anyway. So let's call this test conversation like this, and then we drag that to the test conversation layer like so. And the spawn point is actually here. Is this holy hand grenade over here. If you just launch into the level, kind of get spawned like this. So I'm going to move this guy closer to here. We should see that this thing kind of like ray casts against what is under it, so it should snap to the terrain kind of nicely, like so. And now if we run the game, it won't be there because that layer is not auto loaded. It's not set to auto load. Oh, maybe we should put on some music here in the background while we're working on this. That's maybe a little nicer. I think we're going to mostly be hanging around in tools for the rest of the stream, but we'll see. Right, so here's there's nothing here. That circle is gone and we can't activate anything. So to make that possible to do, we can have something actually loaded, probably from this helper script. So let's call this, let's make it dev load test conversation, like this. The dev attribute there just makes it so that we can actually run this this command directly from the debug menu, right? And that's called test conversation, and it can be blocking. Yes, that's completely fine. And yeah, exporting this level is like annoyingly slow. I should really optimize this export phase just a whole lot. But who has the time? Who has the time for all of these things? Alright, so we still don't have anything here, but now if we go and run script, we run the load test conversation. Ta-da! Here we go. And now we should be able to enter this conversation again. Yay. Excellent. So that's nicer. That allows us to actually test it quite easily then when we get that far. So that can now be saved. We don't have any weird test conversations here on the base layer. I want to keep it kind of clean. So let's go to here. Now these fences here are created using this tool, which is actually is actually implemented completely in Zig. It allows us to create these fences by specifying a bunch of points that the fence should go through, and then it kind of tries to do its best to actually make it make sense, right? Can't always do that if we just force it to go through the house there, but like most of the time there's kind of like colliding with the tree or whatnot. But anyway, we don't want that. We want them to be kind of nice and straight like this. However, it doesn't support like adding ends to these that make them look as if they had kind of been broken down or driven through or something like that. So I think we should make that happen. And if we select this path, for example, we can see the meshes that they use. They use a simple post mesh and a material. Fence simple is the material. That's the post, and then we have the rail, which is this other one. We have fence simple rail 4 and fence simple bin material again. Yeah, the material is the same. The meshes differ. So what if we actually just create, out of using these same meshes, some object types that we can just place here nicely. I think that should work fine. Let's get a text editor going here. I'm going to copy these values. Like so. Right, so the material is actually the same. Yeah, we don't need those. Just need the one material, and then we have fence simple post and fence simple rail 4. Now you can actually just plonk an object here and set it to use a certain mesh. That is possible, but the way that the engine kind of wants you to do it is using something called a blueprint. Not to be confused with Unreal blueprints, they have nothing in common. Let's see which. It's in objects, static props. I think we actually have a static props blueprint. Yes, here we go. We have a whole bunch of objects here already. This asset browser is kind of crappy. This is kind of my least favorite tool in this entire thing, but it's what we have, so we're gonna live with it. Right. So what should we call the post first of all? Simple post. Static props fence post simple, I guess, and static props fence rail 4, I think. Was it 4? Well, simple rail 4. Reorder these terms here a little bit. So that would be that. So then we probably want to have a static body for this guy. Static body. We should be able to see the static body. There's the static body. And we add a mesh component to this guy. Not a mesh rotator, no, but a mesh component. There we go. And the mesh is supposed to be, what was it? Fence simple post. So it's that, and then we have the fence simple material. There we go. And we save that. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. It's not quite that. It is that. There we go. Yeah, there's our post. Oh, it actually has this kind of thing at you know, at the lower end of it. I guess they're probably they're all here inside the ground. Yeah, okay. So I added this because like sometimes these fences sit in places that have sort of like a slant, and sometimes it can look a little nicer, like it's a little more convincing if it ends in like a piece like that. You can't actually see them here at all now. These are just very, very even. Well, here you can actually see. You can see a little bit of the like base, almost as if it was sort of had a piece of concrete there keeping it up. But okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll leave it as it is. We're gonna have to make this collider more narrow and more tall, though. So how do we do that? Let's make it twice as high. That looks about right, but we'll see. And then maybe like 0.2 and 0.2. Yep. Yeah, that looks okay. I don't think I'm gonna add a collider piece for that. I mean, I could if I wanted to. We can quite simply just add another box here, and then we can fiddle with this until we have a nice. We can even make it like a cylinder. Cylinders right there, and then like, you know, fiddle with that. But I'm not gonna do that. I think it's gonna be quite okay to have it like this. 1.8, I think, and then move it up like a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's fine. That is fine. Okay, so here's our post. Let's look at this a little bit more. So type determined by transform, if it is like a movable or not. I'm wondering here, I probably don't want to actually have this be like light mapped. So I'm going to set it to be light probed instead. Blocks nav mesh, yeah. I think that's probably, all of that's fine. And you know what? I'm actually going to delete this, and then I'm going to take this guy that we just created and just duplicate it. And then just change this one thing that we had. So it was something called rail number 4, right? Simple rail 4 for the rail. Again, we did the same thing. I'm too eager to accept that the asset preview crashes there. Right, so here's the rail. And we want to probably just bring that down. Let's maybe do 0.6. 0.6 is a little too tall. 0.5. 0.5 looks absolutely perfect. Yep, that's fine. And then we make it, that's Z. So we need to make this 2. 3, 4. Yeah, 4 looks all right. All right, I think that's it. I think that's all we need. Cool. So, let me go back here. We need to reload the back end here to get those blueprints actually refreshed. That's also something that I should very much add support for, like reloading those without reloading the level. But again, who has the time? Who has the time? Rightio. So how would this actually look like? We have this little thing here which is kind of blocking you a little bit. If you kind of consider it, you're coming from here and you want to, you know, jump down there with your scout or something. We have this piece here from the ground support there, which is kind of like preventing you from doing it over there. So I think we can have a piece kind of going down on this side, but we shouldn't actually block off a whole lot on this side, because this is kind of like the route that the player might want to take, right? So here we have the fence post. Let's actually start with the fence. With a fence rail. How would this actually look? Something like this, right? And then it kind of like it's broken, so it has kind of fallen down a little bit. Right, like that maybe. I mean, we could even go into Blender and like deform these, but like I don't want to spend that much time on it right now. This is just like a fun little detail that I figured I'm going to want to have. Maybe something like that, and then we can take another one of these guys and just add it here. Like the next piece has kind of completely come off, and someone has just thrown it to the side here. Just a little bit of environmental storytelling. Yeah, that bottom doesn't have any, you can see it doesn't have any faces, so we kind of don't want to show that a whole lot. We could add faces there, but of course I kind of didn't consider that I would want to use them like this when I did this originally. Yeah, I don't know, maybe we should sort of like put this somewhere here or something. Like the post would actually be around there, right? Or something, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the posts are kind of tricky to have looking nice here. Let's actually just move this down. I want just a very little bit there, almost like as if someone just cut it off or something. Something like that. Let's take another one of these guys and just duplicate it. So we would have at least, you know, 1, 2. Maybe we can reasonably say that there's been 3 there. You don't want them to intersect too much. It's not gonna look good. Right, something like that maybe? I don't know. Yeah, I kind of feel like they would probably have put them here rather than off to the side, but hey. You know. Actually, I think I'm gonna bring these guys over to the other side. In world space, please. And then I'm just gonna get rid of that. I think these will probably look better. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably better. That's probably better. So now it's kind of should be obvious to everyone what is the idea here. The idea is that this has broken. Of course, what we could do is to try to adjust this a little bit. Move it over there. So then the script for that basically just like removes one of those pieces. And then we take one of these and one of these. Let's move it up. So like here is what this would look like if this thing was actually in pretty good shape. So then we just do this, we just bring that down and then we make this be kind of cracked or slanted as well. Now there's the risk of actually getting stuck on this, right? If you drive too close to that, but I think that's a risk that you're gonna have to take. Let's bring it down a little bit, something like that. That's probably fine. It's fine. It's fine. Let's just add one more stray piece somewhere here. Is that a good place for it? I don't know. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. Let's just fly over here. We get a scout spawn there, and then we set that as our avatar. Hey, Xluxy, what's up? Welcome back. Welcome, welcome. It's been a while. Again. What am I up to currently? Yeah, I actually went kind of through it a little bit previously. I've been completely redoing the narrative for the game. If you hang around, we'll get to that in a little bit. I think I'm gonna actually want to work a little bit on that later today. So we have a sort of conversation system now, which needs some UI work. I was actually going to work specifically on that during this stream, but I have some problems with Affinity Designer currently on this very machine, so we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, it's like it is narrative side stuff, lots of that, and just general improvements. I don't know if you were actually here last stream when we looked at this level in particular. We have some redesigned places here, like this, for example. There's no cave anymore. Instead, we have this little storage house here, and of course we have the cactus there behind the shed. If you know, you know. I've been busy the last week. Swapped out my entire rendering pipeline to bindless rendering. Got to work with NVRHI. It was pretty nice to simplify some stuff. Nice, yeah. Glad to hear NVRHI works with bindless. I am using NVRHI, but I'm not using bindless. So glad to hear that it's working as well. I found a bug in NVRHI in the D3D12 backend. Let's go have a look here. I don't think they have fixed it, because I would have gotten a notification about it, right? But the NVRHI development has been kind of, it's like 3 months since they did anything, and I think it was like just an issue, wasn't it? No, actually it was a pull request. I did a pull request. Yeah, BB updates depending on null IB, so like vertex buffer updates. For D3D12 in certain cases are just bugged, and so there's like this looks very much to me like a copy paste error, right? So they do some stuff with index buffers here. You can see like it ends with like an IA set. Oh, sorry, a vertex buffer. And then they have this thing where there's like, okay, so if you want to update vertex buffers and we have dirty state, or we have dirty state, and then they check if we have an index buffer, and then they require the vertex buffer. So, it should be if we have vertex buffers. If the vertex buffers static vector is not empty, then run the for loop over that. But yeah, there's been really no movement there on the NVRHI front for a while. Oh yeah, this was completely broken for me for a while, until I realized that okay. You can see here is the same thing for index buffers. So enable automatic barriers, and we have an index buffer. And bindings are dirty, or we want to update the index buffer. Then get the buffer, require buffer state. And here's the same thing for the vertex buffers. If we have enable automatic barriers, the states are dirty, or we want to specifically update vertex buffers, but then they have accidentally used an index buffer here. So yeah, I'm still waiting for this to be fixed. Yeah, it's a DX12 bug. Doesn't affect DX11. So I don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully they don't plan to abandon it. I like it quite a lot. But yeah, if we I will just very quickly show you here, because of course we looked at this previously with the other guys. I've been completely redoing the way I do my dialogue. Essentially any narrative stuff at all. And sort of as a part of that, I've rewritten most of the dialogue here, but we actually also have like placeholder voice acting now.
There it is. Minerva lift station. Fastest way up to the plateau.
Stuff like this.
At least the elevator's still there.
And yeah, some of it is really, really terrible, as you can hear.
Minerva station. This is Rowan Lance, comms operator of cargo platform 34. Do you copy? No answer.
Yeah, I'll post the link to the pull request here if you want to check it out.
Let's go have a look.
Yeah, to be clear here, the placeholder voice acting is generated by a tool that I now have here as part of my pipeline. It's not supposed to be actually used, but it is. It's kind of nice to verify that everything is working properly, and also like if you talk to these guys now over the radio,
Receiving.
they are like actually they respond,
Channel open. En route.
which is kind of nice.
Receiving. Confirmed. That's a lot of smoke. What happened over there?
Turbine blow. Looks recent.
Yeah, like the female voices are kind of okay. The male voices are horrible.
The smoke stack is blocking the way.
The smoke stack is blocking the way. He's very, very Christopher Walken, this Diego voice. Well, yeah, stuff like this. And of course, we have... where is it? Remove smokestack. We have the conversation system, which we will dive into in just a little bit. I was thinking,
You're inside the refinery.
was there
Maybe
something?
you can reach the lift station from there.
Was there something else I
You're
wanted
inside
to?
the refinery.
Huh?
Maybe you can reach the lift station from there.
Oh. Why did we get it twice? That's not good. See if we can reproduce that thing. Yeah, I said previously here that it's actually pretty good for me to actually, play this level now, because I have I messed around with so many things here that stuff may be broken without me realizing
There
it.
is. Minerva lift station. Fastest way up to the plateau.
At least the elevator's still there.
Minerva station. This is Rowan Lance, comms operator of cargo platform 34. Do you copy? No answer. Let's go have a look. That's a lot of smoke. What happened over there?
Whoa, the smoke stack is blocking the way.
Turbine blow. Looks recent.
So much for getting in that way.
I'm sure Vet can find a way around.
You're inside the refinery. Maybe you can reach the lift station from there.
Yeah, now we only got it once. I don't know why it triggered twice. That's strange. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. It's
Power cell has
it's kind of horrible actually.
Makes power cells on demand.
But
drive under it. Activate it. Pops out a fresh one.
That's handy.
yeah, these
Never seen one before.
male voices are completely horrible. System-wise, it's pretty nice. there's a lot of work that's gone into just like making it so that you can have pauses and you can set the filters on the voices and all kinds of things like that.
This monorail goes to the lift station.
Still powered.
Picking up power on it.
But yeah, I'm using something called Ink now, which you may have heard of. So let's see if I find their website. This thing, which is like a scripting language in itself, but it is specifically designed for writing branching narrative. The problem with this is that it's not really suitable for dialogue, and because of that we have something called Dink.
You're in. Let's get the power back on.
Power station should be around here
Yeah,
somewhere.
these guys just keep yapping here. Let's pause the game. So Dink is actually Dink is dialogue ink. And it's made by the guys who work for the Chinese Room. This guy, Ian Thomas, I think his name is, and this is super excellent because this allows you to have like speakers like this, like Fred here, for example, or Dave, and it can spit out like Excel sheets for you know, to get a good idea of which lines are localized, which lines are finalized, which lines have audio, that sort of thing. And then Dink, when you run it through the Dink compiler, it actually produces ink, like the normal ink, which you can then run in the game. So,
Follow the power lines.
for example, if we look at the script for this mission, which is here, as you can see that we have a whole bunch of like, what was it? Follow the power lines. Is right here. Here's follow the power lines. And in here, in this script, we can have things like here's like a piece of logic. Has the elevator been powered up? Then Rowan says, all right, power back up, let's go. If the elevator has not ever been powered up, then Stellar says the elevator is powering up. Like, you can just have logic like this sprinkled within your actual dialogue, which is super nice. And if we look at the barks, like this, let's have someone say something. Listening,
Receiving.
like
Listening.
Mother says like a few different things every time you call her on the radio. And here we go. Here's Mother com radio greeting. We can see that we have a shuffle of 3 lines. So she can say channel open, receiving, or listening. And then when she accepts something, she says confirmed or understood, unable, negative, accept movement, refuse movement. I think, for example, here she should probably not be able to join us. So if we ask her to like move here,
No viable route.
no viable route. So that was this refuse movement is like here. Mother, no viable route. She can also say path unavailable.
Channel open. Path unavailable.
Like the other one. So these shuffle commands here, which are also part of Ink, they shuffle between all of these. So that's kind of handy as well. You get all kinds of nice things built in with Ink. And like this entire pipeline has been completely developed over like the past month or so. Now, of course, we need to trigger these things from certain places, and here is where this new integration with Nemo, which is my mission scripting tool, comes into play. So here we can see Dink real-time voice dialogue. You just drop these nodes here, and you set which start not we wanna start running the thing from. So here we have intro, and Rowan says there it is, Minerva lift station, fastest way up to the plateau. So if we take this intro name here and just plonk it in here, then Nemo shows that that is the thing, and then we have some guidance, and we have some delays and things like that. And we have just a whole bunch of these guys everywhere. So, to answer your question, that is what I've been working on. But we have the conversation system. Maybe we should turn our attention to that.
Station.
What are we looking at?
Those canisters. Power cells.
Yeah, we still don't see our new fence here because I haven't exported this level. So let's export the level quickly and make sure that the fence actually looks nice in the game as well. And then maybe turn our attention to the new conversation stuff, because that is what I need to improve to move forward the overall body of work that is Traction Point. Let's start the game from here. And so I'm playing this now without a mission. Like this. And yeah, I could spawn inside of the lift station, but it's just as easy to drive there. Oh, we need to open the gate, of course. Open main gate. And there we can see our broken fence. I mean, this is not really how people would leave it, I assume, in real life, but it's kind of like inviting the player to just jump over there. Jump off the thing. Why not? Oh, these things probably need to be made drivable, right? They're not drivable currently. Yeah, this is why it's very important to test this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, they're not drivable, so you can get kind of stuck on them. Okay, let's fix that quickly. That should be just. We don't need to make the post drivable, but what these ones? Here we go. Default crowd. Now they should be drivable. I'm just gonna fly there now. Yeah, now we can drive on top of these things, not get stuck on them anymore. That's better. And I guess you can even probably. Oh, what's happening there? Oh yeah. There's the post there in the very end, which is kind of preventing you from driving on top of that one. That's actually probably fine. Hey Tutu, welcome back. Blah 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 blah. Bonk. And we have a post here as well. Yeah. That's fine. But okay. So now, if we, let's say we come from here, right, and we want to drive out onto the big plane, we can just come here, and we can drive through this thing here. Yay! And then down here. And that'll work. But okay, good. Let's go have a look at the conversation thing now then, because that is today's big thing. So we have a test conversation which we now need to actually bring into existence by running a test script. And these conversations can be triggered in a bunch of different ways. Currently I've used an interaction area for them. First of all, if we load the test conversation here, bloops, we get a nice circle. We can enter the circle and we can interact with it, and that gives us a selection of things to say. And again, if we look at the conversation test script, is right here. This is what we will be running, this test conversation 2. And immediately we have a few options, option 1, option 2, option 3. And that's these things that we can see here now. We'll switch between them. Now this UI looks horrible, and that's what we're going to be looking at. But if we select option 2, for example, Roman says you chose option 2, then we jump to option 2, which is a stitch. It's called a stitch, this thing. It's like a sub-section or whatever, if these knots are the main sections. And in option 2, narrator says option 2 was carried out. And then we jump back to here, or here rather. And then at the end, the narrator says, and that was the end of it. And then we end the entire conversation. So if we do that, you can see that is exactly what is happening. That was the end of it, and then we go back to the game. And again, I'm feeling like I'm explaining everything twice today, but that doesn't matter. If we drive through it, we can see that the game simulation is actually paused while these things are actually running. And we have a very hacky placeholder camera here for just looking down on this thing until the conversation ends. So that's fine. And I think these subtitles here look pretty alright, but the choice UI is kind of terrible. And so we're going to want to actually improve that next. But I am going to take a 10-minute break. I'm going to go make myself a cup of coffee. And when I come back, we will start working on the conversation stuff, particularly the UI. So, see you in a little bit. Alrighty then. We are back. During my break, I actually remembered one more thing that I wanted to do here in this level that we ran into before the break, and that was fixing this thing here. So we actually got a power cell stuck in here between this tree and this rock, and I was like, nah, that's stupid. So let's see if we can actually put a blocker there. Put a blocker there to temp. What do we have things in temp that are actually? There's a rock. Okay, let's move the rock on to rocks. There we go. Yeah, we have all kinds of things that are in the wrong folder here. I don't really work on this granularity anymore. That I have like folders for trees, different folders for trees and rocks and stuff like that. But when I was doing this, evidently I did. So those are trees. Yes. Okay. Now we can get rid of the temp one. And where is the refinery? It's in its own on its own layer, evidently. So let's put a blocker here. Actually, kind of like covering this entire thing. It's probably fine. Blocker. Oh, Tutu needed to leave. Yeah, no problem. We'll catch you on the flip side, as the cool kids say. And if that didn't cause me to lose all of my viewers, then I don't know what would. Something like that, right? We just want to, like... We just want to basically... make sure that we don't get a lot of objects stuck here in this little crevice. That's why I'm kind of I'm angling this. I'm putting it at an angle so that hopefully things will kind of like roll off it, if that is, if they somehow end up in there anyway. That's the point. Yeah, that's probably fine. Something like that. Let's actually test that out and see if that kind of fixes it. Thinking it probably will. So if you put a, let's put a power cell up there, and now it kind of can't really be stuck in there. Doinks, it just flies away if you try to actually do that. And if we put a, let's put a gripper truck, not a gripper, but a gripper truck. That thing is so horrible that we don't want to drive it. can sort of see that we can't even really like poke these guys into it anymore. Okay, that's good. Excellent. Okay, so the unfortunate state of this Affinity Designer business is that like it doesn't work currently on this machine. Just kind of horrible, really. Not sure what's going on there. So we're going to have to try to make do here with my other machine, which on which it still works. And I think we're gonna try to do something like this. We're gonna make this happen on the screen. So a very, very simple layout. We have a background that looks like this, which is, well, it's really only, what is it, this one? Yeah, here we go. There's the background. And the background is supposed to be kind of centered on the screen like this. And I'm thinking it can move up and down because we can have a different amount of these options here. We can have just one, or we can have two, or even 3 or 4, right? But then if we have more than 4, at that point it would start moving upwards, like the entire thing, like this. So that we then have, we can copy that one, for example, and just move it down. I like ice cream, or whatever. Like one more option to say. And like if we have even more, let's actually lock that thing. If we have even more, then this whole thing would just move upwards, and those things would just appear down there below, because these things are actually kind of readable here, even if they are not sitting on the background. And in fact, we do that in the HUD all the time. We have a whole bunch of texts that don't actually have any sort of background, like these texts here. Activate interaction area, switch to cargo truck, whatever. That kind of business. That looks very weird, but it's probably just because it's the same text all over again. Some other text to make things look more sensible. Where can I find the bathroom? Something like this, right? And then you highlight the one that you want to select, and here I have used this same highlight graphic that I've used in other places in the UI. I'm not exactly 100% sure the same one will work here, but we'll try it, I think. And then you just select the one you want, and then the conversation moves on, quite simply. But to be able to make this work in the game, we need to basically export this thing as an SVG. Or we don't need to, but that's probably the easiest way to do it. And I kind of have it here as well, and I'm thinking I might perhaps want to try to export it from here. So if we have, let's see, triangle, what's that? Oh, that's that one. Right. I have just like a whole bunch of things here that are actually not even visible. Yeah. Okay. Probably fine. We do need to hide the things that we don't want included in that though. This should actually come outside of the radio selection. We have subtitles, can take those away. We have vehicle info, which kind of overlaps a little bit with that. We take that away as well. And then I probably want to delete basically everything here that's not visible anyway, because it was just copy pasted from an earlier one, and then I remove the stuff that I actually don't want. There we go. So all of that we can just hide. So now we have just this this background here. Wow, this is very weird to use here over a remote desktop connection, but maybe we can manage. So we need to create a new slice for this. That would be basically covering exactly this shape and nothing more. There we go. Why over remote desktop? Because on my current machine, this one, if I launch Affinity Designer, this happens. Blip, it goes away. Then you try to launch it again, and blip, it goes away. I don't know what's happened. Like, it worked basically last week. I realized this was the case maybe 5 minutes before I was supposed to start this stream, so in a frenzy I reinstalled it, but it still doesn't work, so I don't know what's happening. Run as admin. We can try that. Let's try that. No. Where is Affinity Designer? Serif, is it? No. Oh. It's probably installed it somewhere in some stupid place. Where do I actually find out how to find that thing? Is it Windows apps maybe? I don't have access. Well, I'm system administrator, but whatever. Yeah, it's probably actually it's in here. It's in Windows apps. Let's do a test here. Excuse me. Hey Marcus. Yeah, Windows being Windows, and indeed. Let's do a test here. I'm going to Affinity Design login. Yep. Oh, I will show you all of my license keys if I do this here. I'm gonna try something quickly here. First of all, let's do add remove and remove the version that I have. And let's see if we can get like a sensible version installed here. So uninstall. Bye bye. Bye bye to you. Mine stored in C program files Affinity. Yeah. See, what I've probably done is I have selected the MSIX version. I'm trying to limit here so that you don't get my license keys. I just want to show you this. Yeah, okay, thank you, that's good. So here we are on the license page. I think I used this MSIX, but now I downloaded this MSI/exe. Let's see if that actually is better. see if that is better. So let's go to downloads and Affinity Designer. Because yes, I would very much want it to run from program files rather than... Yeah, here we go. Exactly, that one. That one, thank you. That one, please. And we'll see what happens. Maybe that fixes it. That would be nice. But anyway, in the meantime, I have this thing here basically done. So we need to name this slice. Let's call it HUD conversation choice background BG. And we'll save this guy. Thank you. Thank you kindly, and we can close that completely. Yeah, I don't need to save that one. Let's commit this here in the meantime. While this is actually done already. Now we can try. Affinity Designer. Would you please? Yeah, see, same thing. So the problem is the same, but maybe now we can at least run it here as an administrator. Yeah, same thing. Same thing, it crashes. That's not good. Do we get any more sensible crash event log output now then? Not really. Not really, unfortunately. They don't have logs, I assume. That's kind of what I'm assuming as well. Crashpad handler. You're not really handling this very well, are you? Compatibility. Windows Vista. I don't know. Yeah, no. It just dies. It just dies. So stupid. Yeah, luckily I have more than one machine. This game would have been so difficult to make so many times if I didn't have another machine. So okay, I'm gonna quickly export this here on this other machine, and then I'm gonna submit that, and then we'll work with it and do whatever we can. It's just the background though, so most of the stuff will be completely fine. But yeah, it's annoying for sure. Very, very annoying. Almost done, almost done. Alrighty then. Let's see. So that would be in UI and HUD, and here we have HUD conversation choice background SVG. Now we want to yeah, it looks like this. Looks like ass, to be honest. If we just view it in like a browser, that's fine. We want to make sure that we don't have any funkiness going on here in the actual data. Affinity Designer has been actually kind of infuriating over the past year or so, because they have moved over to this, what's it called? It's probably still called Affinity, but it's probably just called only Affinity or something these days, right? Yeah, Affinity is the thing. And yeah, I could use this. I could probably even open up my documents in this. I probably can't go back after that, but yeah. Anyway, this is free, and so since I've actually paid for these tools, I'm kind of hesitant to go to a free version, because like they don't really have any incentive to keep it good or whatever. So since they released this, and they basically told everyone that we're not going to make any changes, we're not going to update the old ones anymore, I found a whole bunch of errors with the old one. I've even reported some of them, and they've told me that yeah, there seem to be a bug here, but we're not gonna fix them because we have this new thing now. And one of the bugs is that if you make gradients a certain way, like a completely innocent way in the tool, it actually like rasterizes them as images in the SVG data. So I always want to go in here and see that, okay, we don't have any image rasterized stuff here, because they actually like, it appears as like binary data in this, but we don't have that. We have a whole bunch of things here that are empty. They will get stripped out by my converter tool, luckily. But yeah, we have basically a single path here, and then we have a linear gradient, and that's also completely fine. We have just two stops: stop offset 0, stop offset 1, exactly like we want. So that's fine. But yeah, there's some super infuriating stuff with Affinity Designer these days, and I'm kind of just waiting for the whole thing to fall down. And well, today wasn't very positive in that sense. That is almost like happening already, because I can't even run the thing on this machine anymore. Let's hope they I don't know what I hope. They're not gonna go back to that, so I don't exactly know. It's kind of crappy actually. Anyway, with that out of the way, we should now be able to actually just plonk this guy into our little HUD dialog choices module here. So this is the thing that renders those HUD dialog choices. It's something that I threw together very quickly just to check that the actual conversation stuff works. Oh, okay, we have stuff running here. Let's unload this, I guess. Now, the nice thing with this, and the thing that none of you will ever have probably seen in my streams, is that I have hot reloading of Zig code now. Always remains to be seen if I have run into any new bugs relating that or relating to that, but I should be able to hot reload the code So you can see that, okay, yeah. Actually, it kind of works already. It's a little wider than I thought originally it would be. So I think we're gonna make it a bit narrower. So now that we have this actually running here, we should just be able to hot reload this stuff, which is nice. And I'm going to take the background, right? What's called background, yes. Render in pixel rect. So pixel pos stack bottom. Yeah. Yeah, this is all kind of crap. I don't really like any of this. So I think we're gonna... Let's start by like getting rid of the choice rendering there. So now that we build this thing, those should go away momentarily. Unfortunately, we're still not on the self hosted backend here in Zig, so the building actually takes quite a long time. But there you can see, blip, stuff is going away. So hot reloading actually works now. It's really nice to like fiddle and tweak with these things. I think we should probably use the render unstretched version of this. And so how do we actually do that? How do we do that? Let's comment that out. And we're gonna do, so that's just context. Position is probably basis math vec2 init. That would be 0.5, and this would be like 0.9 or something like that, right? And then width would be something like 0.75. And then the pivot, where was the pivot? That's probably goofy UI pivot. Oh, I can just do, can't I? I can just do dot centered down center. Let's try rendering that and see where that takes us. You can actually see that this should be like a 45-degree angle, but it's actually not, because it's kind of stretched currently. There we go. That's more like it. Now these angles are 45-degree angles here. Okay, that's kind of neat actually. I think it already kind of resembles what we had in Affinity. But we need to be a bit more intelligent about the placement of that than this. So like, just bring this off to the side. Not that it needs to match my mockup completely, that's not really the point here, but so it's actually kind of large still here in the game. That's probably not a bad thing actually, because you have languages like German, who is like, I don't know, like super long. No offense to Germans, but your sentences are so long that they break my UI. And so if we want to limit them to one line, which I kind of think that we do, I think the players' responses are supposed to be kind of short anyway. It kind of makes sense to have this be perhaps a little wider than this right here, right? But okay, so the logic is now that we have some sort of base Xlux is yeah, you're also German. Yeah, I have lots of German people in my community, and I love you all. Absolutely, just your language makes life difficult for me. Yeah, I didn't remember that you were German as well. to be honest. Right, so we have some sort of base position for this, which is basically like here where it is now, and it's going to sit here if we have 4 or fewer of these choices, and then if we have more than 4, it's gonna kind of jump upwards by some fixed amount, so that well, basically by like the difference between here and here, right? So one row, essentially. So let's just come up with some bullshit row height here. Row height is like 0. I don't know, 0.08 or something. So 8% of the screen width, or not width, height, basically. And then we have the base. It's that one. So we have the const base background y coordinate. All right. I don't know if this is going to work at all. By the way, this is just completely made up on the spot. Base background y coordinate. And then, let's see, we place the background at the base coordinate unless we have more than 4 choice lines. If we do, we move the background up by n times row height. So that would mean that we have const background y would be this one, right? Plus plus max of choice count g dot choice count 0. So g dot choice count minus 4. We take the max of that times row height. Isn't that how it's supposed to work? So if we have 4 of these, then it becomes 0. And then we get the max, which is also 0, so 0 times that. If we have 3, then this becomes, well, that's actually that's an unsigned one, so we wanna make it const signed row count i32 int cast g dot choice count. Like that. So that would become minus 1 if we had 3, minus 1, and we clamp it to 0 again. So that would work. But if we have this set to 5, then that becomes 5 minus 4, which is 1. Yeah, that would work out. And then we plug the background y into there. That works. And then we probably want to have background width 0.75. I'm going to keep it as that for now, and then we'll see if we need to actually flip it to something else. To be honest, some German sentences don't really make any sense. We all agree that German is weird in so many ways. I don't know if German is weird. I mean, it might be. It might be weird, but that's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that German, words are so long that, or sentences, that they break my UI. Oh. 31. What? Oh, okay. Float from int. Yeah, it's Zig being kind of oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Extra height. Right? And that, yeah, F32, that's the important thing here. Extra height. Is that. And then we need that. Then we plug extra height into here. And now we should build. Yeah, of course, like I'm actually a Finland Swede. So Swedish and German have a lot of commonalities, like a lot of similar things. So I can actually understand a lot of the German words just fine, because they're basically exactly the same thing in Swedish. Not all of them, of course, but many, because they have like common heritage or whatever. I don't speak German though. Not at all. Yes. Okay. So now we have this. So this should be fine. And now if we pretend that we have three rows, that this should stay at the same place. But if we have 5, then it should kind of jump up, right? So 5. Yeah, I should really familiarize myself with the new, like, really fast compilation modes in Zig 16. I haven't really done that yet. I think that might have to be... Oh, now it moves down. Right, okay, yeah. We need to subtract that. But yeah, how much nicer is this to actually just be able to hit compile and then just watch the thing kind of move. And the answer is it's much nicer. It's much nicer. Yeah, I have this very old style for loop here, no doubt copy pasted from somewhere else. Stack top is that, yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that. Get rid of all of those. Get rid of all of that. At least for the time being. All right. Right, then we have the choices. We have them here. The choices should be a string array. And we have a max choice count of 8. I think that's probably reasonable. Like if you have more than 8 choices in a conversation at any one time, that's going to be kind of confusing anyway. Even though LucasArts did that back in the day, but it was kind of confusing all the way back then. So yeah, I've been doing this with like pixel stuff. I don't really want to do pixel calculations necessarily if I can avoid it. Although maybe the text actually used pixel. I'm gonna have to look at that. It's actually possible that I need to do it because the text rendering uses pixels rather than like UI units. But anyway, let's see. So rather than using this while loop, we can just do 0 to g dot choice count, right? And that gives us I, which is of U size. And then we have this, and this is just completely fine, but we probably want to calculate the row somehow differently. Right, so line height, well, we had row height here. I'm going to plug that in there. Stack top. So stack top is now, it's basically like we start calculating from where the anchor of the background is, just somewhere here, because this is like 0.9, so it would be about there. And then we go upwards some certain amount. And that certain amount is basically the height of this background minus a little bit of margin. If that makes sense. I think it does. So this row height here actually now includes the margin between the row and the next one. So we should have like row vertical margin and have that be like something like that, right? So if we have the rows here, the row height goes from the top of this letter here, or maybe perhaps like from the bottom of this letter here to the bottom of this letter here. So that includes like the height of the row, but then also this margin here between the rows. So that's like way too little. Let's have it be half of that, so 0.04. Right. And that would mean that the current stack top, or the current line y coordinate would be the base of this guy minus how many lines we have, the row height, which includes this margin. So maybe we actually don't need that. Let's keep it in commented out form if we actually need it. But yeah, anyway, we start with the background Y, and then we go, let's count it here on this one. So if we have this, it would be like 1, 2, 3 up, if we start from that. And then if this would be higher up, yeah, so it's like it's line count minus 1 times the, I think that's what it is going to be. Let's make that a variable. So row Y is background Y minus row height times G choice count minus 1. I may have to do some converting there, right? Let's do that. Row Y. Let's see if it actually accepts this. Nope. Yeah, okay. we need to do this dance. Right? That would be that. And then at the end of this loop, we basically go row y equals row y plus row height. Right? And then in between that, we actually do the rendering. So, let's do the shadow later. I'm gonna do just this. Those two. Color. We have the text. We don't want those though. Pixel position. Yeah, okay. So the text function in NanoVG want these things in pixel coordinates. So we're going to have to convert from UI coordinates to pixel coordinates. That's fine though. We can get the x coordinate of this thing by taking the width of the entire thing and starting from 0.5 and then subtract half of the width. Right? So const background left x. Actually, it needs to go there, below that. Background left x is background 0.5 minus background width times 0.5. Right, that's background left x. And then I need to remember how to actually convert between these things. Let's see if I can remember how that works. Maybe it's actually context. Context get pixel pos from UI pos. Excellent. So the UI pos would be init. Let's go with the background left x and row y, and that gives us a pixel pos for basically this side here. And yeah, I think we can just use that as is for now, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see what we get. Pixel pos x. I'm just gonna take that out. Oh, shadows something. Where is pixel pos? Ah, it comes from there. Okay. PP. Y. Actually, I think I've called them something like row pos pixel or something like that. So row position in pixel coordinates. And then we want to do probably NVG set, or is it text pivot? We'll see. We'll see what comes out if we do this. Okay, here we go. There are options. So we can see the pivot is wrong. NVG pivot, isn't it? I don't remember how to do this anymore. I haven't done this in so long. NVG something or other. Blah 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 blah. We can find it here. Pivot. It's not pivot. It's align. Text align. There we go. How did we actually use this guy? Left is what we want here, probably. Center and middle. Okay. I can set it here before the for loop. Yeah, left. And I think middle can be middle for now. That should be fine. So now they should appear exactly here at the left edge of that background, right? Yep. Isn't it nice when things work the way you think they do? And we can still actually, yeah, this doesn't work with the mouse coordinates because the mouse has no idea, or Goofy has no idea which one we actually, you know, hover over. But we can still use the keyboard and the gamepad to select the correct one. Except this turquoise color is not the correct one here, but we'll fix it. Let's actually have a look here at the HUD voice dialog line and see their font sizes and things like that. Yeah, it kind of depends on the size of the widget here, which is fine, but it's not really something we can use as is then, because this widget is very much different than what we had. Yeah, exactly. Stack of choices renders output starting from the manual. That's kind of true. I wonder what that actually means in this case. Yeah, the text is clearly not the same. Text is much larger here. And that actually makes perfect sense. So now that doesn't jump up there. That's stupid. That's stupid and weird. Locals, G, choices, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, choice count 2. Yeah, so that's fine. So does that mean that if we select this guy, and then we go back here, yeah, it just shows down there, huh? Oh, yeah. So background Y would be down here. And then we calculate how far up we need to go. So take row height, which is way too large now, but whatever. And we we'll go up by a number. Oh yeah, okay. I see what the problem is. The problem is that this should be actually a constant, right? This should be so row count before moving background or something. That would be 4 currently. Right, and then we have this thing. It's probably going to jump too high up now, actually. Yes, now it jumps too high. That should be -1, and we need to make the row height like smaller. Let's make it something like that. And I think I'm going to hack this a little bit here, just for our entertainment and use. Oh, yeah, thanks Visual Studio, that's helpful. G dot choices, choices, why not? 0. I'm gonna set some of these, you know, G choice count is 4. Let's take some of these bogus ones I had written for the mock-up here. That was like leave, like so. We can just poke at that because we're only concerned about getting this thing to look nice. Oh, set. And catch. Panic. OOM. Something like that, right? There we go. Okay. Nice. So what if we now make it 3? We should like this should go away, but these should be at the same place as before. Yep, that works. Let's have some more of these actually, because we want to test out the case where. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like ice cream very, very much. Oh. Which way to the bathroom? Right, and then I will make it 4 again. Right. Okay. What about 5? So the whole thing should jump back up, but the bottom line should have its base at this position. But the whole thing should jump up like 1 row. Yes, exactly. Same thing with number 6. And all the way to 8. Yep, that's good. We should fiddle with this margin though a little bit. The aspect ratio shouldn't break this. Also, something we want to check. Doesn't seem to do it. Seems to work kind of okay. Let's actually, we can do window, I think. Set size 720. And that's like one of the standard aspect ratios that we like to use. Cool. So calculating this this guy, row height. So if we make row height larger, which we might want to do, like just a little bit, we should push all of them up, and that would probably mean that we have like too little space up there towards the top again. Yeah, it's a little tight. Let's try 55. Yeah, just imagine if I had the faster Zig compilation here, and I could just like make these kinds of changes almost sort of on the fly without having to wait for any compilation. That would be super nice. Okay, I think this is probably kind of okay. It's probably kind of okay for now. We want to move them off to the side a little bit, so we want to have a little bit of left margin here. So row left margin is point. I don't know. Let's go with 0.1. Row left margin. That might be too much. We'll see. In fact, that's probably almost certainly too much. Now that I think about it, yes, it's about 5 times as much as it should be. Where did I put it? Here. What did I say? 5 times as much. Let's do 0.2. We might actually want to leave a little bit of extra margin there, now that I think about it, if we want to have this arrow thingy decoration, this thing here. But it's kind of like, I don't know. Might actually work like this. Just messing with these aspect ratios to make sure that it actually doesn't break. Looks fine. I'm going to give it a little bit more though. And I'm actually going to leave this line here, just as a reminder that that was a pretty nice value. I'm gonna give it a little bit more so we have a little bit more place for that highlight there when we get to that. Like so. So okay. I think this is a decent kind of baseline for this entire thing. Let's take a snapshot of that one. Yeah, we can pause that. And if we go to pictures and screenshots, and then we flip between those two. Yes, photos, thank you. Ah, did I not catch that stupid subtitle? Okay. Yeah, we need to restart the game. So one bug actually that I have here is one where the options get exhausted when you select them. Just like, you know, if you play like a classical point and click adventure game, you would exhaust options. You would ask something and then you can't ask it again. And that actually comes from having these stars here in the script. So if we make these like plus, and plus, now these are not exhaustible, so you can ask them as many times as you want, which may or may not be the, you know, what you actually want in this particular script. But the bug here is that even if you restart the game, those kind of stay exhausted currently. So that's a little stupid. Okay, let's see if we can capture that now. Basically what I want to do here with these screenshots is I want to compare the text size. Because the text size is calculated kind of in a stupid way currently. It kind of depends on the size of the widget. Not really sure why I've done it that way. I mean, for this subtitle, it is calculated that way, and that means that since this is kind of a different size, I can't compare those numbers. They're not actually what we expect. But let's try just making it smaller. Yeah, I think this is closer to what we have in the actual one. I think it's probably too small now. Something like that, maybe. And also, of course, the dialogue line stuff here. Let's do a little bit of math. Let's do a little bit of napkin math here. So font size. Let's say the pixel size is I don't know, 52. Then the font size would be pixels times 0.25, right? That would mean that the shadows would be pixels times 0.03. So the font is 13, the shadows is 156. I'm gonna change this so that the shadow size is calculated from the font size instead. This kind of math also always makes my head hurt. So basically what we want here is 0.03 divided by 0.25. 52. No. It's the other way around. So 1.56 times that would be, yeah, that's 13. Okay, so it was the first way around. So we take 13 and take it times that, we get 156, so that's the same thing. So basically that means that we want to take that. So yeah, 0.12. So shadow size is not pixel size divided by that, but rather font size times 0.12. Right? And that means that if we can figure out this font size and make it be correct, then the shadow size is also correct. And we want to do this everywhere, that we calculate the shadow size in this way, which is, for example, here in our beloved choices module, also in this one and this one. We don't have the font size there, we need to actually add it. Yep, that's better. That should build. Yep, it looks exactly the same. Yeah, I think the text here is pretty it's a pretty good size right now, actually. So not bad. Okay, so what's the next thing then? I think it's probably actually getting that shadow to render. And that should be kind of easy. Should it not? Speaker name, render text shadow. So we do a font blur. We set the fill color to this thing, which we use as the shadow color. Although that would be kind of nice to have. That would be kind of nice to have somewhere in one place so that we can change it. All of these use the same thing. So let's move it into HUD.zig, which I actually created today. So we do pubconst HUD shadow color. Let's call it HUD text shadow color. So we can switch it up, flip it out for another thing if we need to. Start with this one. So that would be means HUD shadow color. HUD shadow color. some basic code hygiene fix up as well as actual feature work. Okay. And now then, what are the differences between these two? We have the blur and we have the special color, and then we reset the blur. But other than that, we just set the text Y to its value plus the shadow size. That makes sense, I guess. Let's try that in our choices thingy. And of course the shadow needs to be rendered before, because shadows go under. I think we have that already here. Used it before. And we don't need the box subset business. That's only for the lines that have like a speaker. Shadow size. Isn't that how it goes? See if we get nice shadows to show up on the texts. Yeah. That's nice. Wonder if is the shadow size like, is it a little too large, or is it just me? I don't know, maybe it's just me. Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't actually have that many choices there because we've exhausted them. It's just that I hack the UI to show that there would be. Yeah, the shadow seems a little too somehow, I don't know, large here. I think that the text is a little too large as well. Let's make that a bit smaller. I need to kind of actively remind myself not to shut the game down all the time. That not like we actually have hot reloading here. Don't shut it down out of habit. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it kind of works. Happens to me as well quite often when rebuilding my script engine. Yeah, yeah. It's a it's a workflow to sort of that you need to kind of get used to working with. And not all stuff is actual like development that you can do with hot reloading, at least for me. Like I can't do everything with hot reloading, especially if it's like large data changes. I just need to restart the game. But for these kinds of like immediate mode UI things, hot reloading is perfect. Very nice, very nice. Okay. Okay, let's just select the first one. So basically we need like something like this. Where we have this very faint kind of selection business here. has like a small little arrow and then the background. And in this one, in this radio menu, we actually don't even change the name of the or change the color of the text. We just make it glow a little bit. And so that's what we've had so far. I wonder if that is what we should use for this one as well. Maybe. Go ahead.
Heading over.
Yeah, some of Stellar's placeholder voice acting is also just completely broken. Let's see if we can trigger one of his absolutely ridiculous lines. Listen to this. Hello, Stellar. Yeah, what did you think of that?
Stellar.
Hey, he can say his name. That's fine.
Go ahead.
He can just about say go ahead, but he can't say like just two M's and a question mark. Like what the hell was that? Like the model that generates those things just like it completely breaks down when you feed it something like a little more exotic. He's just stuttering and muttering and being incoherent. Okay. We have way too much space between these guys. They don't look like they belong in this UI at all. So let's fix that first, and then figure out that highlighting business after that. So how do we do that then? Row height probably at least. What are you using for voice generation? Oh, what was it called? I can check it out in a little bit. That was one of the free ones, one of the really crappy ones. Yeah, maybe something like this. Now we just need to move that upwards, or rather, maybe the background. Let's figure this out. Base background Y coordinate. I wonder how I want to do this actually. Do I want to like actually like just bring that down more? Then again, that's probably too much, isn't it? Yeah. Oh yeah, it brings everything down. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to do that. So we have the background Y, and again, it starts from that. Yeah, okay, we just need to basically like move them upwards a little bit. I think that's what we need to do. So we can have a little bit of a, like, you know, const row offset y 0.05, something like that, right? And we can maybe even make that negative. And then we add the offset there. I think that's probably what we want. Yeah, so that's not bad. Let's make sure that like this thing now works. If we add or take one out, like the rows should basically just move downwards with the background. Yes, that works. And if we do one more, it should still work. This, of course, would be very, very nice if we could just instantly switch them, which I could do with like a command prompt message or something like that, but it works like this as well. That's fine. And now if we take one more away, then it will basically stay in place, just the row will be removed. Yes. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of like, that's more actually akin to what we want here. Right, let's see. What am I using for the thing? I think it was something like Piper. Yeah, it's this one. This is the thing, Piper. And this is an old one. You can see that we have Piper 1 GPL now. I specifically used this because it had like nice pre-built binaries and it was MIT. This is GPL 3.0. This old one is MIT licensed. But we can actually go and have a look here. If we look at the Barks ink script, I will actually look at the Barks ink script in like a notepad. So if we look at the stellar ones, so here, for example, here's this. I'll make this a bit larger for you guys. Here's this It's like ID Barks Stellar Radiocom greeting FOBW, like a generated thing. We can actually find that audio. Text to speech Barks. Let's shut off the music for a little bit. So it's FOBW. Here we go. This is like what? What did you say? Some of them are completely fine. Like go ahead D2U6.
Go ahead.
It's like no, it's not very good, is it? But like you can sort of hear what he's saying. Stellar 08 YJ.
Stellar.
That's just like it's completely fine. I think it was heading over was okay as well. Stellar com radio message accept movement. The 8CIX heading over.
Heading over.
That's fine. On my way was kind of okay as well.
Okay, on.
No, that's not the one. That's the one I did. That's the one I.
On my way.
On my way. Yeah, that's fine. But coming, and period. Yeah, it sounds like this.
Okay, on buying.
What is that? What is that? It's supposed to say coming.
Unbuying.
I don't I don't understand. I don't understand. And then the game, of course, like if we just yeah. If you talk to him here, go ahead. The game adds like a few radio effects and things on top. But like the line is completely borked. I don't understand what is happening. But yeah, like the female voices in that set of voices that comes with Piper, they were completely fine. I'm super happy actually with like Rowan and Mother. I'm not gonna use them. Still not gonna use them in the game, but they would almost like work. Except of course like the direction is completely wrong and everything. But like the as voices they can't just work. Yeah. Now we can't actually even enter this thing anymore because we've exhausted all of the options there. Oh yeah, it's fun. Yeah, Mother's stuff is completely fine.
Listening.
This just works.
Channel open. Adjusting position.
Like you,
Already in transit.
it's almost perfect as an AI voice actually. So yeah, Stellar has some sort of mental breakdown every now and then. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, put the music back on. It might, of course, be kind of nicer to have this this sort of layout for this background that we have. Like we actually have two sort of layers of this. We have this outer one, and then we have this darker inner one. That might be something to consider for this conversation option screen as well. I think this one kind of works, but it's maybe a little bare bones. Okay, so let's look at the radio menu. It's right here. So we have the highlight. Highlight image. Highlight is right here. Radio highlight. So we can probably just take that and see what that gives us here in the choices as well. Background highlight. I'm just copy pasting these things from the other screen here. Highlight, and then we need to deinitialize the highlight here. And there we go. Right, and then we render unstretched. Let's see here. So if I is g dot highlighted index, we can render the highlight basically like this. We need the highlight position. The highlight position is like basis math vec2 init, and let's just start by putting it to, I think it's this background left X that we want, and then Y would be, I could do row Y, start with that. Width, I don't know what that is supposed to be. I really don't. I don't know. Let's make it as a, add it as a constant here. So highlight width is like 0.3 maybe. So 30% of the screen. Let's see where that takes us. Oh, this is probably gonna crash. Yeah. I realized it just before it crashed. And it crashed, of course, because we didn't have a hot reload handler that would actually have loaded that image, right? So we just rendered it, but we had never loaded it. There we go. So it almost works, but of course we need to adjust it a little bit. So we should have a little bit of a highlight left margin, and we can maybe do row left margin times 0.5. Something like that. Yeah. I think that kind of works. How does the radio menu do the blur and the blur and the slight glow of the blur highlight is right here. Okay. So draw text with shadow. Like do we only draw the shadow if we don't actually highlight it? Is that really how it works? That's news to me. I don't remember doing it that way. Yeah, I think it actually looks like that is how it works. Let's make that. Oh, hey. Let's be a bit more careful with which characters we have saying things, because not all of them actually have the data required for it. So load test vehicles. Yeah, you can sort of ever so slightly see that the highlighted one doesn't actually have a shadow. Which is kind of interesting. Okay, I guess that's how we want to do it then. So, I wonder if we should just take this guy, draw text with shadow, and maybe just plonk it into the HUD Zig. Do we have this in a few places? We have them in 2 places already. Okay, so that kind of already tells me that we should do that. Let's see if we can diff these guys and see, are they the same? So that's one. And here's the other one. Yeah, they're exactly the same. So I'm gonna put them, put it here, like so. I'm gonna do goofy is import goofy. NVG is basically goofy.nvg. Like so, and then I can remove these other ones. Right, that was the radio menu, and then we had one other place, HUD avatar role selection screen. Take that away as well, and then just use that common one. It's very cool to like occasionally go into the code and just like find duplicates of things, clean them up. A lot of this, especially this HUD code, is just like super chaotically and organically coded. So there's all kinds of like absolute crap in here. But okay, choices, blah blah blah. So that would basically replace all of that, would it not? Let's comment that stuff out. Right, what do we have here? Actually, we have shadow offset pixel. Huh. Yeah, the thing is that this draw text with shadow has created a slightly different kind of shadow than the subtitles use, but we can figure that out. It shouldn't be super tricky. Let's see here. Shadow size is that one. No, pixel pos. Sorry, pixel pos is that one. So row pos pixel. That would be shadow size. That's of course this. And if we go with the HUD radio menu, then it's this UI color HUD white. And blur highlight would be, you know, if that is actually active. Look at that. It's kind of ugly. It's kind of ugly, to be honest. Okay, something very strange with this with the shadow here. It's like way too large, the offset now. That didn't do a whole lot, to be honest. Yeah, there's something kind of weird with this. It doesn't look very good. Well, that might just be that we need a little more color in this screen. Or something. I also think that I think I kind of like the highlight. The highlight thing we have going there is kind of nice. I think that should probably be actually back to what it was there. I think we have a little bit too much margin there actually. Yeah, that's better. That's better, definitely. Cool. So I wonder if we should just like make some changes to the background of this to make it a bit more kind of opaque. As I'm sure you know, like sort of visual design is not really my forte, and so these things don't really come all that natural to me. What we have here though is like the shadow of these texts the shadow of these texts is kind of offset to the bottom and to the right. Right? But if we look at this text, it's actually offset only to the bottom. So that needs to definitely be tweaked and fiddled with here. And I think we can do that by quite simply giving this as a vector 2 so that we can give a different pixel offset vertically and horizontally. So let's do that. Let's give this as math vec2, and then we have plus x plus y like so, and then we need to basically do all of this, right? All of these need to be changed. What is this thing now? Do I need to press enter there too? Okay, there we go. Now I get the choices one as well. Okay. Let's take that away. That wasn't a very good idea, I think. Yeah. Basis math vec2. Let's do vec2 init 0 shadow size, something like that. Yep, we have that there already. Okay. I'm just gonna do this once here. Shadow offset pixel. Shadow offset. Shadow offset. Like so. That should compile, right? No. Redeclaration of shadow offset. Where's the original? There's the original shadow offset. Okay, yeah. That's just a scalar, but this is a vector. We can just call it shadow offset vector. How about that? How about that? UI in code. Yeah, there's a little bit of a mix of all kinds of things here. But we do have quite a bit of UI in code, yes. Yes, indeed. So now the shadow should jump. Yes, and now we have it only downwards. I think the difference between what we have in these lines is that we blur them more there. There's clearly more blur in the actual subtitles. So let's see, what's the blur count here? Blur is 2, so it's not actually all that high. Okay. What's the blur count in the choices? Oh, there's no blur. There's no shadow blur. There's no shadow blur at all. Okay. And also, kind of interestingly, we don't use the shadow color here. So let's plug that in there. And we can do... Let's think about this. I don't necessarily want to blur all the shadows. I should make that adjustable then. Yeah. Blur highlight. Okay, so we can just quite simply do blur shadow pool. I don't think there's any way around that. Like I was thinking if we could make it somehow. Oh, blur shadow. Could somehow make it kind of bake it into the current parameters, but I don't think we really can. Of course, what we can do here is blur shadow amount, right? Would that be nicer? And then you could actually set it here. So like if stud math, what is it? Almost equal or whatever. Oh, we don't have stud, that's why. Stud math approx equals, there we go. Is it that one that I've used most of the time? Yeah. Or is it abs? Yeah. I also have one in my own, which I think I kind of like more. Let's see. Basis math. Floats almost equal. Blur shadow amount. 0, 0. Right, so if we don't actually, if they aren't almost equal, then we blur with the blur shadow amount. And of course we also need to reset it if we did the blur. Do blur. I'm just going to do this. Something like that. And this of course means that now we have a few places here that we need to patch up. Blur shadow amount. Blur shadow amount. And same thing for the radio. I almost feel like we should have some sort of facade here for these. Come on. Some sort of facade here for these modules that use these heavily, because they send the same kind of parameters so often with these things. But anyway, now we can do 2.0, and that should give us a nice blurred shadow there in the choices. We need to actually restart it, because again I've exhausted all of my things. Yeah, the easy way to get around that issue would be to just change the script to not use exhaustible choices. But yeah, that looks much nicer, I think. That looks much nicer, I think, and also it looks closer to those subtitles, right? Yeah. Yeah, we also don't have any sounds here for when we're flipping through these things. I do wonder if the highlighted one should still be some other color though. I don't know. I mean, I can always mess with that later on. that thing again. Maybe we should comment this stuff out. So we use the actual options that we have at our disposal there. Remove a whole bunch of stuff that we don't use anymore. We can remove that one, we can remove that one. Yeah, the color is that. I don't know, let's try with that color. Maybe it will look nice actually. And then I'm gonna go in here and make that change that I spoke of. Let's have all of these be non-exhaustible. Save that. And we'll go here and we build the test conversion. Yeah, so that color doesn't really work all that well. But what about this color that we have here? This color. And should we perhaps even use those? I don't know. They're kind of different. This is like the menu color. Like even the main menu, of course, uses this kind of gold color here, and has a sort of a pulsating glow here for the selected ones. So maybe this is actually what we need to embrace here. Just go with this kind of color scheme. But then again, the color scheme kind of changes a little bit there in the actual game, and that's like a deliberate thing to make it, to give it a bit of like its own sort of feel. We don't have the whole game looking like menus. Now the question is this a menu or is this an in-game thing? Well, it's kind of both. So what should it look like?
There it is. Minerva lift station. Fastest way up to the plateau.
At least the elevator's still there.
Yeah, see that we don't know what it should
Minerva
look
station.
like.
This is Rowan Lance, comms operator of cargo platform 34. Do you copy? No answer. Let's go have a look.
Like for some reason I think that the selected one now, which doesn't have a shadow, it looks sort of like less chunky than those other ones that do have shadows. So that's not good. And we can, of course, render a shadow if we want to. I think I need to kind of hack this a little bit to figure out what I actually want here. So let's bring that over here. HUD text shadow color, right? So that's supposed to be means.hud text shadow color. Like so. And now we can like take those away. So that should give us a shadow even though we are rendering the highlighted one. And there we go. Not sure if that actually makes it much better, but it is at least different. I think we have some other colors here as well. We have those ones. Oh, maybe we don't have the gold ones here. I can probably dig them up from the menu code. Yeah, now that we changed the script so that they're not exhaustible, we can just keep doing this all day. Which makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. This sort of stuff doesn't really come very naturally to me, so I don't actually know. What we could actually add here, though, is this leave, right? And this just ends it. How about that? Wouldn't that be nice? So we could end the thing directly. Just like the test line that we added there suggests we can. I'm not sure if parentheses actually mean something in ink that I should be aware of here, but let's try it. Yep, look at that. It just works. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, the camera is kind of borked here, whereas actually it's hard coded to look down on the thing from a certain position, so it looks very stupid. But yeah. Yeah. You know what? Maybe I should continue exploring this offline. I think we got some pretty good MVP stuff in today. Like, this is already looking much nicer than what we had at the beginning of the stream, so probably pretty good. I don't think this is necessarily super exciting stream material, me trying out different color schemes and highlights and shadows and everything. So I think I'm gonna call it here. Thanks to everyone who came to hang out today. If you want to play the game, you can do so today. You can play Pre-Alpha 3, which is from late December, which has this very level in it, although in a slightly different form. And you can do that by joining the Discord. Links in the description and in the chat. And if you want to support the game, the most important thing you can do right now is to go and wishlist it on Steam. And there is a link to the Steam page in the chat, as well as the description as well. So thank you very much for your support on that front. Other than that, have an excellent rest of your day and see you next time.